Good morning, students. So let us start today's class of computer science second year syllabus. So in the previous classes I discussed on classes and objects and basics of objects, that is chapter 6 and chapter 7, and chapter 10, that is inheritance, is completed in the online class. And in today's class I will be discussing on function overloading and member functions. Okay, so we'll move on to the introduction part. So in first year syllabus you all came to know what is a function, is it right? So function is a task which can be completed by certain program, so that is called as a function. So now user defined function is a function defined by the user to solve his or her problem. Such as function can be called from anywhere or any number of times in the program. So in the first year syllabus you all must be knowing there will be a function overloading, there will be a function call, there will be a called function, everything, right? So I think you all have remembered that syntax of function overloading, function called and function calling. Okay, so a function means it is a set of group of commands which is derived to do some certain task, so that is called as a function. So if a user defined, it is called as user defined function to solve his or her own problem, that is called as user defined functions. So C++ program implements polymorphism through this function overloading and operator overloading. So in the previous classes you all might be knowing polymorphism means what? Means one thing acting in many ways is called as polymorphism, is it right? So that is one of the important concept of OOPS. Okay, so function overloading allows the user to create a new abstract data type. Yes, right? So it is creating one abstract data type so that it can be used for further in the programs. So at this point you can be clearly understand this concept when you write a program. Okay, students, so I guess you all understood what you are going to study in this chapter 8, that is function overloading and member functions. Okay, so here see, so what you should know what do you mean by function, and you should know what do you mean by function call, and you should know what do you mean by function calling. Okay, called function and calling function you should know. And this function overloading implements this virtual polymorphism. Actually speaking, it is virtual polymorphism, and it is also creating one new abstract data type which we'll see further. Okay, students, I hope you all understood the introduction part. So now we'll move on to this function overloading. So you should be knowing this function overloading. It means two or more functions having the same name but differ in the number of arguments or data type of the arguments. So if two functions, for example, add, I am taking here integer a and here integer b I will write, and again I am taking a add as a function, and here I will take integer data type of a, and here I will take a integer data type of b, and here I will take it as one more argument I am inserting, that is c argument. So here you can able to see two functions, is it right? Add is a two functions, but it is differing in the number of arguments which you are passing into this function add. So this type of process is called as function overloading. That is, this function is overloading this, or this is overloading that. Means two functions having same name but differ in the number of arguments. It is a process, next point we'll see, it is a process of defining the same function name to carry out the similar activities. So this means what? It means polymorphism, that it is creating a virtual polymorphism, is it right? So for example, if you are having only one object you are having, and you are having two tasks to do. Okay, here the function is what? Add, but I gave two arguments for this, and I am giving two arguments for another thing, another function, is it right? So it means it is a process of defining the same function, that is add function, to carry out the same, actually to same function, but it can be done in two ways. So that is the function overloading meaning. So I hope you all understood, dear students. So next you should know how you have to define and how you have to declare the overloading functions. The main function in the function overloading is function argument list. So what are the arguments you are passing within this braces is much important. So if if there are two functions having the same name and different data types or different number of arguments, then function overloading is invoked automatically by the compiler. So this function overloading is also called as compile time polymorphism. You all might be knowing compile time error, is it right? So this means at the time of compilation this polymorphism will takes place. So this is called as function overloading, or other name for this function overloading is compile time polymorphism. You all have to understand this. This is an important question from the exam point of view. Okay. So the main function in the function overloading is a function argument list. Okay. So if there are two functions having the same name but different types of arguments or different types of number of arguments, then it is called as compile time overloading, compile time polymorphism, or function overloading. Okay students, so we'll understand still more better by seeing an example. See here, I have taken sum as a function name and here sum as a function name, and here the return type is what? Integer, and here the return type is what? Float. Okay, and here it is taking a two arguments called as integer a and integer b, and here it is taking a two arguments called as float p and float q. So you can see here there is a compile time polymorphism is happening here, that is function is overloaded. Function is being overloaded in this. Okay students, so next we will see calling a overloaded function. Okay, so how you have to call the overloaded function? This can be understood by using some program example. Okay, so see here we have to compute the area of rectangle, circle, triangle using overloaded functions. So they'll specify this point, that is overloaded functions. So how you have to compute the area of triangle, rectangle and circle? So this is very easy program if you do it in a simple way, that is just by putting a formula sum is equals to a plus b. If you do that, it is for if you do that, just a minute, you have to find the area of a triangle, right? So that is area is equals to half into base into height. So by putting this formula you will just get the area of a triangle, but to obtain the area of a circle you have to write again initialization of all the variables, and then you have to compute, and then you have to print, is it right? So it is an easy way if you write a program by including all this information in one program, that is by using a function overloaded concept. So how that can be done, I'll explain this now. See, as usual you have to include a preprocessor directive. Here it is actually iostream.h. iostream.h in the sense you are including a cout and cin as a statements. So these are standard input output statements which you must be knowing because you have studied in first year syllabus. Okay, I am just recalling that. So then here you have to include one function, so that is class function overloaded. So here you are having a function that is integer area, integer L and integer B, and it is returning length into breadth. Okay, so next you have to include an area of float. Okay, it will be returning formula, that is this is for circle. circle formula for finding the area, and this is for rectangle. It is returning the rectangle formula, and then here you are returning the formula of triangle. Okay, so finally you are calling the function, that is overloaded function with an object initialized as f. How you will access? F dot area of, I am giving some numbers, and f dot area I am passing some numbers, and f dot area I am passing some numbers. So like this it will display the area of triangle, rectangle and circle respectively. Okay students, so I hope you all understood. See, again I will explain. See, you have to write 3 functions for this. So 3 functions for this you have to write. So in one function you are just writing integer area, that is area is a function which has to be overloaded, integer L and integer B. Okay. So next you have to write for finding the triangle and for finding the circle areas. Okay. So pi into r square is a formula of areas of a circle, and half into base into height is a area of a triangle. Okay. So next here you are just calling a area of 4,6, and here you are calling a f dot area of 10, and here you are calling a f dot area of 3.6 and 3.7. Okay students, I hope you all have understood this. So next I will be moving on to the advantages of function overloaded. So coding is executed faster. So faster of coding is there, because since you are writing only minimum number of steps, that is minimum number of lines in the program, therefore the code is executed faster, and it is easier to understand the flow of information and debugging. Is it right? So the information can be understood easily because it is written in curly braces, so that it is easier to access and it is easier to find errors. Debug means you have to finding the errors. Bug means error, and debug means you are removing that error. And then code maintenance is very easy. Is it right? And easier interface between programs and real objects. Okay. So there is a easier interface. Just a second. Okay, see, and there is a easier interface between programs and real objects. So these are all some of the advantages which is associated with this function overloading. Okay students, so let us, if there is an advantage, there should be a disadvantage also. Let us discuss that disadvantages of a function overloading. Okay, each function is a set of overloaded functions must have different argument list. Is it right? So you should have a different argument list, that is whatever the arguments which you are passing in this braces, it should be a different. Okay, if type def is used for naming functions, then functions is not considered as a different types. Okay, so there should be a type def should not be used here. What is this? We will see in the further classes. Okay students, so these are some of the disadvantages associated with this function overloading. So I hope you all have understood today's concept. Today's concept is the easiest concept. You should know what is a function overloading and what is the declaration of how it can be done, and how you have to define that, and then you have to know what is its advantages and its disadvantages. Okay students, so I hope you all understood. Thank you.